Hey guys, it's Savannah. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is everyday home decor DIYs from Dollar Tree, so let's get started. For this DIY, you're gonna need Dollar Tree's larger canvases, and I just started by removing the actual canvas. I don't know, like the sheet that you paint on a canvas. I just started by removing that. I didn't really care about getting the staples out because I wasn't gonna use that side anyway. So I just took like a box cutter and went around and cut it. And then I'm cutting that excess, those excess edges off. And whenever I've seen people like reverse canvas signs, I think they always use the front. Well, I genuinely loved the back of this because it almost had a vintage vibe already. It was like a tinted yellow color. And I don't know if this really served any purpose. I was trying to give this some texture. So I took some Dollar Tree spackle. It probably would have helped if I used like Walmart spackle because that's more like thicker, but I just took a brush and kind of brushed that on there. Next, I'm taking these Dollar Tree palettes, and I tried this out first to see if it was even possible, but I'm taking my box cutter and I'm moving this little house down lower because I want this house to be smaller, and then I'm just taking it, kind of scoring, cutting until I get it to pop apart. Once I had those apart, I sanded the edges down. I didn't put that on camera because I did it to the side. But then I'm just going in and I'm giving these a coat of the white Waverly chalk paint. Then while those are drying, I'm just taking a baby wipe and some of my antique Waverly wax, and I'm just staining around. Make sure you get on the inside and the sides. I don't care about the back because we're going to cover that, but I felt like I've seen other people do this using a baby wipe, and it really did make this stain go a long way. So I didn't have to use as much, and I'm just taking it and rubbing it in, trying to cover it all. And then once these little houses were dry, I am dry brushing them with my chip brush and going back over with the white Waverly chalk paint until I get them how I like. Then I am taking the canvas where I put some of the spackling on there, or the caulk. I am just dry brushing over this with some of the elephant cover, or this, yeah, I think this is elephant. And I'm just dry brushing over, kind of distressing. And then also, you guys, Melissa from All Things Crafty told me about this silicone mat, and I just had to have it. And look how easy it cleans up. I'm going to link her page down below because she has a link to some cute colors. I got this gray one, and I'll link this one down below as well. So next, you're going to need these jumbo popsicle sticks. Again, I get these from Walmart, and I'm just laying them on the houses and marking how big I want my doors. And then I'm taking some scissors and I'm cutting those down, and then I just sand the bottom just to make sure that they have a straight edge. And then I'm taking the baby wipe and staining these as well. Then I am going to hot glue the doors down, and I know you guys can see like the top of these aren't perfectly straight, and I loved that. I love that they weren't perfect. Then I'm taking some of this wired berry garland, and I cut it. This is back from Easter of last year, I believe, and I just twisted that around kind of in a circle to kind of make a wreath, and then I hot glue that down. And then I'm going to take some scraps. These are just some scrap picks from Walmart, and I just cut the leaves off and I just start hot gluing them around until I get as many as I like. I did try to make a round wreath just with the greenery, and I didn't like it. So this is what I did, and I found was easiest, and it will end up looking something like that. And I think it's so cute. This is probably one, I know I always say this, but this is probably one of my favorite projects. And then I just repeat that same step on the smaller one. And then they should look like that. Look how cute they are. Then I'm taking the canvas paper and I'm hot gluing that onto the back. Now I didn't do all 4 sides at once. I started with the bottom and then I did one side, I did the other side, and then I did the top. And I felt like this was easier so that I could pull the paper tight and make sure it was a tight, you know, it looked like it was made that way. Now we're just going to put it all together, and I kind of laid the houses out to see how I wanted them to lay and sit, and then I hot glued those on there. And then I wasn't sure if I wanted to hang this or if I wanted it to be able to stand up. So I'm taking some of these Dollar Tree Jenga blocks and I'm staining them as well with a baby wipe and that antique Waverly wax, just because I felt like it would blend in better with the sides. And then I always go, actually a subscriber told me this, go a little bit higher than being flush with the sign and it sits up even if it's a little heavy. So I just put 2 of those on, and then I made these cute little raffia bows and I glued those in the middle of the wreaths, and then I split the edges. You guys know I like to do that because it makes it look fuller. Hot glued those on, and that is it, you guys. I am obsessed with this project. Today's video is a collaboration with Megan from the Crafty Quinn. I have collabed with her before, so this is our second collaboration together. I absolutely adore her. This is her channel and some of the videos that she has out. She puts out great DIYs, and this stairwell Dollar Tree DIY is absolutely amazing. You guys have to go see this. I was mind blown. She also does other DIYs. She's amazing at what she does. I'm going to leave the link to her channel in my description box. Go over there, show her some love, and tell her that Savannah sent you. So for this DIY, I'm taking one of these Dollar Tree signs, and I just start by removing the wood pieces on the outside. I used my little Cricut spatula to do this, and it was super simple. And I just removed all of them, and then I flipped it over to the back, and I'm giving this a good coat of the Waverly white chalk paint. So then I'm just taking a baby wipe and some antique Waverly wax, and I'm just staining these the same technique that I did on the first DIY. And these are absolutely beautiful the way they are, but I just wanted a little bit more contrast between the white background and these, so that's why I opted to do that. And then next I'm taking these Dollar Tree carrots and I'm cutting off the grass part at the top. I just felt like that kind of made them look a little cheap. And then I'm taking these Walmart things that I took off like a pick. I honestly just clipped the leaves off, just pulled the leaves off. It was like a 97-cent Walmart clip. And then I took some scissors and kind of made a hole, put some hot glue in there, and then I am sticking the leaves in there. And then I added these little baby breaths. I found these at the Target dollar spot for $3, and they're so cute, and I just felt like it added a little bit extra. Then I'm just taking my little distressing brush, and I'm taking some of that antique Waverly wax, and I'm just rubbing it on. Again, I have no technique to this. I know you guys say that you love my distressing, and honestly, it's so easy. I always just take my darker color that I'm distressing with, and then I go back over that with my base color. So whatever color you use for the base, that's how I distress mine. And then I'm just going back in and I'm hot gluing these on. I did mess up a little bit. I didn't get this one all the way as far as I wanted to, so I had to go back and fix that. But other than that, I just hot glued these on. And then I printed out this, it's not even a saying, word, carrots on my Cricut. And I guess at the time I didn't think it needed an apostrophe. But then once I was putting it on, I was like, okay, this needs an apostrophe. So I just cut out a little, honestly, a little thing out of the extra vinyl I had. And you'll see I'll stick it on in a second. I think that's right if we're being grammatically correct. I'm not sure. Anyways, so, and then because I'm still new to Cricut, I couldn't find the cent sign. So I printed out a C and a long L. And I'll show you what I did here in a second, but I just laid that on and I was trying to get it as straight as possible because I didn't want to use my transfer tape just for one thing. But I took the L and I laid this in the center, and because it wasn't long enough, I improvised and I took my furniture scratch marker from Dollar Tree and I just added a little bit of lines on the ends, and that worked out perfectly. And then I just like to sand over my vinyl so it's not so blunt and it looks like it's been hanging up for a while. And then I am laying the carrots out to see how I want to lay them. I hot glue one on, and then Addie wanted to glue one on. So she helps me with the center one. She burnt me, don't tell her, but it hurt really bad. So she put that one on, and then I put the other one on, kind of laying them out how I liked them. And then I wanted to just put a little bit of white on these, on the green and the orange part, just to just stress them a little bit more. And then I wanted to add a hanger. So I'm taking this buffalo check ribbon and I am putting that on the back and reinforcing with a popsicle stick scrapped. And then I'm adding some farmhouse beads to this, and that is it. I hope you guys are enjoying today's video so far. If you're new to my channel, I'm Savannah, and if you like what you see, I hope that you stick around and hit that subscribe button. Also, I would love to give a shout out to one of my subscribers, Rachel, for buying me my first coffee. That link is in the description box down below. You guys, that just keeps me going. I'm a mom of 3 and my kids keep me on my toes. And I appreciate you guys so much and everything you guys do. It just means the absolute world to me. You guys, this DIY almost got the best of me. It almost was tossed in the garbage can, but it worked out. So I started by taking one of these Dollar Tree mason jars and I tried to remove the front of it. I put some water on it and tried to get off as much paper as I could, and it just, we'll get to there. Okay, so I gave it a coat of the black apple barrel paint, and then I took some white Waverly chalk paint and I distressed it, and then I did go in with some of the antique Waverly wax and kind of wanted to distress it a little more, give it a little more definition. I did do a lot on like the rim where the top would be on a mason jar, and I covered that all the way, and then I took a baby wipe and kind of wiped that off. And then I printed this out on my Cricut. It says, if I have to stir, it's homemade. And I put that on there, and you can see where all my paper came off. That paper finally came off when I put my transfer tape on there. So I took some Mod Podge because I was really trying to make this work, and I covered the letters so that those wouldn't come up, and then I took some antique Waverly wax and I started distressing so it almost looked like it was supposed to be this way and it was natural. But I wanted the white part where the paper came up to be distressed, but I didn't want the words to be distressed. So I wiped those down with a baby wipe after I was done distressing the white paper part. And then I took my sander and I was trying to make more of that paper come up to make it look like it was made that way. I even took some transfer tape and tried to pull more up, and it did its job. And then I sanded that down a little more, added a little bit more of that antique Waverly wax, and I finally got it to where I thought, okay, it's coming out okay. This is gonna work. And then I did wipe the words off again just to make sure that they were popping off of this. And then I'm taking the jute that came on this mason jar originally, and then I'm hot gluing that back down. Then I'm taking some of this scrap greenery that I have. Again, I always have scraps everywhere because I just pull things apart. And I'm tucking that in behind the jute and hot gluing that down to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. And then I made this little raffia bow and I glue that right under the greenery and split the ends to make it look more full. And you guys, I gotta say, as much trouble as it gave me, it did come out pretty cute. So were y'all not going to tell me that I forgot the eye? I'm sitting here doing my voiceovers and I'm like, wait a minute. If I have to stir, the eye must have been ripped off whenever I pulled the transfer tape off. So I'm going to have to go back and add that. Moving on to our final DIY, I am taking one of these Dollar Tree signs, and then I have this mirror frame. This was actually a mirror before, and the mirror broke, and it's been sitting in my craft stash, and I want to use it. I believe I got these from Walmart, but I know that Dollar Tree has mirrors like this. So I just started out by removing the jute hanger to this, and then I'm giving it a coat of the white Waverly chalk paint. I do go in and fill those holes in because I want this to just be a sign. I don't want it to hang. And while that was drying, I am dry brushing over this frame. Now, you guys, this is one of my crafts where I honestly just sat down, grabbed a few things, and I put this together. This was not an idea that I had planned out, and I love how it came out. So I'm kind of just like laying this on and going over it all with some white Waverly chalk paint. I do give this sign another coat, and I don't know why I waited to fill the holes in. I guess because I thought I wanted it to be a hanger at first, and then I changed my mind. I change my mind all the time. But that's what I'm doing here. I'm just going back in and filling those holes in and letting that dry. Once that was dry, I'm going to hot glue this little frame onto the board. And yeah, not much more to that. And then I'm going back in with some more white Waverly chalk paint and going over this a little bit more because I want it to look almost flush with this sign. Not flush, but like it blends in with the sign, but it pops out with the sign. I know, I make so much sense. But I wanted it to look like it was all one piece and this design was distressed. Then I'm going in with some of my antique Waverly wax and I'm distressing the sides. I'm not doing the shape. We're just going to call it the shape. I'm not distressing that. I'm just distressing the flat, the back of this sign. And then also in the middle, yeah. And then I'm going back over it with that base white Waverly coat just to blend it in, and I sand some little edges down where I went a little heavy on the distressing and just taking that white and going over that. So then I am taking a grapevine heart and some of these little letters, and I grabbed H-O-M, that spells home, and Addie wanted to help me here too, so I'm letting her distress those letters while I am fiddling and adding more distressing around the sign. Then I'm just kind of laying everything out to see how I want it to lay. If you see over there, Addie is also staining some Jenga blocks so that we have some stands for this. But I'm laying the home out to kind of see how I want the spacing to be. Honestly, when you're working with these, I don't mind if they're not perfect. I kind of feel like they look really cool if they're almost just not even perfectly straight. But I'm hot gluing those on, and then I am going to hot glue the heart in the center of this. And then I just add the Jenga blocks to the back. I did 3 for this one because this sign is a little bit heavier than the first one we did, and it's also a little bit wider. And then I just stand it up and look at it, and I think this turned out so pretty. I love this little piece. I will definitely have it in my house year round. If you guys made it all the way to the end of this video, leave a green emoji. And thank you guys for watching. Be sure to go check Megan out, and I will see you next time.